what's up guys? I hope everything is going well and that you are fit and healthy as always. Welcome back to another podcast on the RK400 radio. I'm obviously with Sophie Carr, my beautiful girlfriend, and today we have a lovely topic that I think our viewers or listeners are going to enjoy, because it's not just something interesting to listen to or about, but actually some
knowledge in there.
Some valuable things that they can actually take from it and apply it to their life. So the topic, tell them what the topic is, Sophie.
We're going to be talking about calorie tracking.
Yeah, calorie tracking, and probably also something about macros as well. So if that is something that you want to know about, calorie tracking, macros, if you don't even know what macros are, this is definitely the podcast to listen to. All right, so we are going to start with the first question, and that is, what is calorie tracking and why do people calorie track in the first place anyway?
So which part of that question should I take?
Well, I mean, anyone really. I mean, I'm just thinking, like, why do we do it? Do they do it to lose weight, to gain lean muscle? Is it something that diabetes, if you have that, is that why? Like, no one knows. Why do you
I suppose everything associated with it. You can use it to lose weight, to gain weight. It's just thinking about the number of calories that you're putting into your body, because that's going to determine, well, what your body looks like in a sense. If you take in too many calories, your body size is going to go up. If you don't take in enough, your weight is going to drop. So you can use it for either, really. That's
exactly what the listeners do not know is why when you have a lot of calories do you gain weight, and why when you have little to none do you lose. And it's, I mean, you mentioned this earlier, it was basically because 1 calorie is equal to 1 energy.
It's like a unit of energy, So every food gives you energy. You eat some sweets or anything that's got calories in it, and you're gonna get a burst of energy. If you don't eat enough, you're gonna feel very lethargic. And obviously some foods have more calories, some have less. So if you take too many in, then you're putting too much food into your body essentially, and you're gonna grow.
No, that is true. And this whole calorie tracking, macro, finding out things, or is it easy or is it actually hard? Like, can anyone do it? I mean, for me, I've been tracking calories now for, I would say, 10 years minimum. I probably started tracking when I was 21, 22, and I just kept on tracking my calories. But obviously for me, when I started initially, it wasn't easy. Yeah. But it's like I don't even notice it anymore. I'm not sure. You know that I don't even use scales anymore.
You can kind of eyeball
I really just go through quickly what I need. I can see on a plate, okay, this is so many calories. Like working with my clients as well, working out programs that contain calories, it's so easy for me. But for a first-time user, someone that doesn't even know what calorie counting is, do you think it's hard? Do you think it's easy?
I think it's pretty straightforward. I mean, it's also like, it's kind of basic maths. Like, all foods have a calorie, which is a number associated with it. Use your phone as a calculator to add them up. There's also loads of apps like MyFitnessPal where you can like search any type of food and it will tell you the calorie content associated with it.
And also food, like at the supermarket, you can actually just literally on the pack, and it says, because she said it's a unit of energy, it doesn't say calories all the time, but it will say 2000 energy, which is kilojoules. And then you take that energy, that number, and you divide it by 4.2, and that'll give you the calories. So when you say it is quite simple, but if you don't know how to, well, then clearly you can listen to this podcast, but you can also just ask.
I say one thing that could be difficult is if you're trying to track calories and you're eating out quite frequently. In the UK, it was recently made law that they have to put the calorie content of foods next to the item of food on the menu, but that's not really very universal. And if you're eating out and you use something like MyFitnessPal and just enter pizza or something generic, it's unlikely that the one you were served in the restaurant is going to have the same value of calories.
Obviously, now that you mentioned like pizza and those type of things, okay, so you obviously get different types of calories. Now, some people might ask, or they want to know, okay, cool, now that I know how to calorie count, I'm an expert in it, I know that this is how many calories chicken has, this is how much, that's how do they know how much they need? Like how much for instance, for me, I feel, and this is just, again, just how I'm reading my own body, right? From the years of counting calories. I need about 2,000 to 2,200 to really feel that I'm kind of maintaining my weight but still staying lean, right?
Yeah.
As soon as I go below that, like 2,000 or 1,800 or 1,600, I'm starving myself. I feel hungry. I get like anxious and depressed, and I just want to eat. Whereas if I go above that, and I go to 2,600 to 3,000, even 3,500, that's when I start picking up size. So you obviously, and I know everyone is different. So how do you know? How would they know? How would our listeners know?
I say it's not easy. Like there's generic guidelines, like we just looked them up earlier, what the like World Health Organization says, and they're very like, for women they need 2,000 calories a day, and for men they say 2,500. But in reality, for adults it could be anywhere between like 1,600 to 3,000 calories a day, and all things like your gender, your height, your level of fitness, fitness and activity as well. Like if you're someone who works an office job and actually never goes to the gym, you probably don't need that many calories because your body's not burning that much in a day.
Yeah, because you may also say like calories is energy, it's a unit of energy. So what energy you put in, you need to also put out. You know? So if you're putting out too much energy, using all your energy, and you're not eating enough, clearly you'll lose weight. And if you are sitting at home doing nothing and you just eat energy, that's gonna build up, and it's gonna eventually.
Because when you're calculating your calories in a day, you'll have your like standard resting like maintenance calories, which say that's like 1,800 calories a day, and that's the number of calories you burn if you do nothing. Just from sitting on the sofa, living and breathing, your body burns energy just by being awake. Even when you're sleeping, you burn some energy. And then you add on your like exercise, which burns calories, but also doing exercise has like an afterburn. So not just the 30 minutes of exercise, those calories burn, but also by doing that, you're burning more calories throughout the whole day. So then trying to work out your maintenance or surplus or deficit calorie for what you want to do with your body can be more challenging.
I mean, because people forget about the fact that, and I've obviously studied that, is you get your basal metabolic rate, right? That is the calories that you need if you are in a coma right now, right? The minimum calories that a female would need is about 1,200, and the minimum a male would need is about 1,500. Now that's like not a lot, right? But that is enough to sustain you and to give your organs like enough blood and calories to obviously stay alive, for your cells to regenerate and all those type of things, right? So your body needs that. So on top of that, then you need to eat because you're working out. So because you're not in a coma.
Yeah.
All right, you're not in a coma. So now if you're just eating 1-2, okay, great, you'll survive, right? But once you get up from this so-called coma, you start walking around, eating, because even eating burns.
Even the act of eating is.
Even the act of eating is burning calories because your body uses calories to burn the food that it just ate.
Yeah, exactly.
So it is a difficult question. How much do I need? Of course, there are many calculators like calorie or body calorie calculators.
You can just Google it and you'll probably get a bunch of options.
Some of them are obviously not 100% accurate, but I have a slight formula in my head that I always use for, at least for myself. This is like the simplest form, and the simplest formula is you take your current weight, where you are at the moment, and you times it by 2.2, because we need pounds. So obviously if you're kilograms, I say, for instance, I weigh 100 kilograms. So you times that by 2.2, that gives you 220. And then you just add a 0, and that leaves you with 2,200. And that is what I feel I need to sustain my weight, right? If you want to gain weight and gain muscle, you add 500 calories. If you want to lose weight, you divide 500 calories. Now that doesn't necessarily always work out perfectly, but that is very, like I said, the simplest, easiest way to work out your maintenance calories of just what you need throughout the day.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's basically it. Do you have a formula, or do you just...
I don't know.
All right. I mean, it obviously comes also to a very important question, and that is the risks that are associated with tracking calories. And I mean, why I say risks, obviously the fact that if you don't know how to calculate, you might make a mistake and think that you're going to lose weight. Here you're starting to pick up.
Yeah.
But something more serious is the fact that you start looking at food
It's more of a number.
like numbers.
Like, you should still enjoy it. Like, if you want to go to a friend's house, have a braai, you don't want to be there trying to add up the potato salad and everything on your plate.
And we get those. I've had friends that do that.
It's like, enjoy life a little bit as well. You know?
Or they swap things around where they sit there and they say, okay, cool, I'll have this pizza slice, but then I'm not having the snack that I was supposed to have at 4, so that I can balance
out.
You know, and to be honest, we're talking about this now, but this is a very big cause of eating disorders.
Yeah, it can become an obsessive thing, like anything. I feel like people in general, when they're going through like any sort of hardship in life, they cling on to something they can control. And calorie counting is something you feel very in control of. You count the numbers, you add it up, it gives you that feeling of control and an achievement. So say you need 2,000 calories a day, and then you only reach 1,800 on that day, you'll probably be a bit chuffed with yourself. You're like, oh, I won, I won the calorie game today.
But the numbers don't bring in account the emotions that come with eating below the maintenance calories to try and lose weight. Because losing weight, to be honest, I mean, it's very, very hard. It's probably the hardest mental toughness thing that you can do. I take my hat off, for someone that actually loses weight. I'm talking about 20, 30, 40 kilograms of weight in a year or in 6 months. It's incredible how people do that, and I encourage them to do that as well. So, I mean, there are big risks involved. So the advice basically is what?
I'd just be sensible, like you say, remember how much your body needs, and it's a unit of energy that enables you to do things. Like, there's a reason that your fitness instructor or whatever has told you to consume this many calories, and they know what they're talking about. Scientists have studied this. They know what they're talking about as well. Like, that's what your body does need to function. So you should take that into account.
Talking about calorie density, right? Like you spoke about this earlier. How to manage not only the amount of calories, but what type of food the calorie contains. All right. So, for instance, if you eat white bread and pasta and those type of things, there's quite a lot of calories in it. Or if you take a chocolate, for instance, it's such a small amount of food with such a large amount of calories. So you'll have like 1 or 2 chocolates. It'll give you that burst of energy, like you said, and before you know it, that energy has run out, and you're stuck with only 800 calories left for the day, but you are starving.
I think it's also important to consider when you're calorie counting, there are easy mistakes you can make. Like, if you're, I don't know, making yourself some toast or something, you'll be like, oh, just put a little bit of butter on, because it's not gonna impact my calories that much. But
1 spoon of tea of sugar in the coffee.
But those are both very calorie dense foods. So if you're not measuring out the amount you put on, you're probably not putting a teaspoon of butter on your toast, because a teaspoon of butter is not a lot. You're probably easily putting 2 to 3, and you won't realise it, but because those are very calorie dense foods, you'll easily put yourself in a surplus when you're trying to maintain.
That is very, and another thing that people might, and this might come as a surprise, is things like avo and cheese. It's such a healthy thing. Everyone loves, and especially here in South Africa, everyone loves avo and feta and bacon on their pizza. It's like the best thing, right? Pizza. But they don't understand that avo is super, super dense for this little small green little mush.
Yeah, nuts as well.
It's so high. So you just need to basically know your foods. You need to know what density it is. If you think about blueberries, you can have this massive handful of blueberries. You can chuck everything in your mouth and it'll probably be about 50 calories, It's
also a good thing if you're dieting to think about maybe eating less calorie dense foods, because you can consume more, so you'll feel fuller. like if you have a big salad and maybe go heavier on the lettuce and lighter on the feta,
Yes.
you'll feel fuller because you've eaten a bigger bowl of food than if you have a salad with the same number of calories but you load it up with things like feta and creamy dressings. Like maybe it'll taste a bit nicer, admittedly, but you'll probably only be able to have about this much of it, you know?
I think also that is why macros are so important, and I think that's why we need to just quickly explain what macros are.
Yeah.
Because it's very important to know what it is. So a macro, basically, let's start with a micro. A micronutrients is all your vitamins and your minerals and things that food normally just has, all right? The tiny little things. But when it comes to the macros, the big ones, there are three big macros, which is your protein, your carbs, and your fat. Now, if you can divide that perfectly even if it's 33% to 33% and 34% evenly, regardless which one comes first, that is still a good balance. Like I know there's some trainers out there that say, okay, you need to, if you want to bulk, it's 50%, 40%, 20% or whatever. But I just think really if you just keep it, slice it in three and keep that, it's going to be a balanced diet, and that's, if you can maintain that throughout the diet.
So do you think, say you had two people, same weight and same height, both trying to lose weight, and you give them both a meal plan that has, I don't know, 2,000 calories a day, but one of them really favours the protein and the other one really favours carbohydrates, who do you think would have more success in the long run with their weight loss?
Well, again, that's a very difficult question, because you need carbohydrates for energy, right? To work out. So if both work out really hard, the person that has more carbohydrates will actually be able to sustain this diet and the program throughout, where one that has less carbs might come up with cravings and low energy and those type of things throughout the program. So I personally don't think you should be afraid of carbs. I think carbs are your friend. Just make sure that you get enough protein to build the muscle, but because carbs are literally inside your muscles, you know. That's where it sits. It's builds up there, and that's where it literally is instant energy when you're in the gym. So I think it's very, very important. Yeah, that's basically macros for you. And then the last little thing is, what do you suggest? What do you suggest if you're trying to lose weight? What would you say to a man or female out there regarding tracking calories and macros? Is it something that you would suggest that they do?
I think if you're a beginner in the fitness game and losing weight or anything, I think calorie tracking is a good way to go, because it's likely that you actually are very unaware of the amount of calories you're putting into your body, because I mean, not everybody knows about these kind of things. You just think, I eat when I'm hungry, and that's good. And that is right. If you're hungry, you should eat. So if you don't have that prior knowledge, then it's good insight, and it will just it'll mean that you'll start making more mindful choices about what you're eating, because you'll be aware of the calorie content of the food you're putting into your body.
Correct.
And it just means that you'll be able to fuel your body better throughout the day, so you can then split your calories into meals. So rather than having a huge breakfast and then less calories later in the day, you can divide it more evenly, so your energy is doesn't spike throughout the day.
Yes.
And yeah, it's a very easy tool if you want to lose weight, because it's quite simply put yourself in a deficit, you're going to lose weight, put yourself in a surplus, you're going to gain weight. It's not... Yeah,
because otherwise you're not going to know, because the problem is also, if you don't know, if you don't calorie count and you're just trying to lose weight, your first initial instinct is to just stop eating completely. Just run every day as far as you can and eat an apple and a boiled egg. That's it. You know, it's just stop eating. But it's really not necessary to take those drastic measures. And as soon as you can start calorie counting and just see what foods are, it'll be very quick until you know exactly. I don't need a calculator anymore. I know what foods are, all the foods. So it'll take some time, but you'll get there, and then I think life will be easy and dieting will be very easy too.
Definitely. Even if you were just to write out your standard current daily diet, work out the calories of what you're eating, then you can quickly look at that and be like,
see if it's good or bad.
If I get rid of one glass of wine in the evening, I've saved myself 200 calories.
Of course.
I could do that 5 days a week.
Very, very interesting and true. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Of course, this is another RK400 Radio podcast number 2, and we just wanted to say thank you, obviously, for listening through all these minutes. I know it's quite long, but there's definitely a lot of valuable information that we share, and you just bump off each other some opinions, and it's quite interesting as well. So if you like this podcast, this video, like and subscribe. Also follow Sophie Carr, and leave a comment down below if you want to say anything, if you want to add anything, or if you want us to talk about something else that you want to know and you
Give
want
us
our
some
opinions
ideas.
on. Yeah, give us some ideas. All right. It was very lovely. We'll see you on the next one. Cheers.